I think that the vibes that you get from this game, right, is sort of like this is a chance for you to turn your season around.
Yes.
That sort of vibe lah. That's the vibe that immediately came off lah.
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Futbol Kaki. I am your host Elder and I am joined by my fellow Kaki bro and Liverpool fan, Utd. How are you doing?
Not too great. It's interesting how like a game with similar outcomes for both teams can provide different moods. So I'm guessing you're feeling okay?
I'm shocked lah. Let's just call it that.
Yeah, but we'll dive into that later.
we'll dive into that later, right? But let's just say the result was a big surprise to me, and I think to a lot of Man United fans. But we will dive into that later, right? But I think before we go into like the Liverpool and Man United games and of course the other games that we're going to talk about, right? There is something new developing in the world of European football. The Champions League as we know it, next season is going to change. I think for all of us, right, we're all familiar with the group stage followed by the knockout stage. Where you have 8 groups, then you all vie for the top 16 goes into a draw for the knockout stages, then it goes all the way to the final, right? But officially, as of last week, there is going to be a format change for the 2024 to 2025 Champions League. So I think just to give everybody a brief summary, right, there are total going to be 36 teams, a 4-team increase from the current group of 32. There will no longer be 8 groups anymore. It will just be one big 36-team league. So the question for everybody will be like, if I'm doing a 36-game league, right, does it mean I have to play all 35 other teams? That is compounded onto my existing season, right? So it means that you have to play estimated another 70 games total, right? No, that is not the case. What's going to happen is that the teams are still going to be divided into their usual pots, but whatever pot you're in, right, you are expected to be drawn against 2 teams from another pot. You have to play a total of 8 games, 2 teams from each pot, and then that will actually decide whether or not you go into the next round of the knockout of the Champions League, which of course is broken down into 2 segments. So one is that after the 8 games have been concluded, if you're in the top 8 of this league after the 8 games, you automatically qualify for the round of 16. Straightforward, right? If you are 9th to 24th place, you will then be proceeding to play in a seeded knockout. So what do we mean by seeded? From what I understand so far, right, seeded means that if you're 9th place, you're likely going to play against the 24th seed lah. And then it will be 10 and 23, 11 and 22, so on and so forth lah. And the victors of those 8 matches, right, regardless of seeding, will be the remaining 8 teams that will go into the knockout phase, which will go into the round of 16. From there, after once you get to the round of 16, is the Champions League that all of us know. So it's round of 16, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Everything remains the same. Media, what do you think? Honestly, about this? Because it changes the way we view Champions League football now already.
To be honest, right, if you were to ask me, does this Champions League format need a change? I would say no.
Yep, I agree.
I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with this Champions League format. I think it just comes off like they are trying to milk as many games possible from these clubs or trying to get them to get as many TV games possible. And then in the same way also, it allows for the leagues to have like more people take part in the Champions League, which is like now they're opening to additional 4, if I'm not wrong, 4 teams?
Yes, additional 4.
Yeah, additional 4 teams lah. I mean, we already discussed this. There's going to be a total of 144 group stage matches, which is 48 group stage matches more than the previous format, which I think is like not necessary. Because I mean, like I guess we are discussing this based on the fact that we are also Singaporeans. So most of the time, Champions League, right? So it's like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. So we don't really get to watch it that much. You know what I mean? Like as Singaporeans or this lah. But maybe it might benefit the European viewer and stuff like that. But I just think that too much football is also not a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, because these players, right, it's really their body that's going to be like put to the limit lah. So that's my personal take. But do you think this is a good idea?
Honestly, right, I only think that this is the solution they come up with, right? Just because, right, if you to add 4 more teams, like, you disrupt the whole flow of the Champions League. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think
that's
so.
why. That's why I'm more of a proponent of like if it's not broken, then why do we need to like fix it? You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Yeah,
Correct,
but
correct.
I guess it's just milking the money lah. You know what I mean? I'm not really a fan of this lah, but it's always like that lah. You see, it doesn't work. Then after it become normalized, then after that you just get used to it. So yeah, so it is what it is lah.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you know whether the like seeded knockout, right, the 9 to 24, is it one leg or is it double leg?
From what I understand, it's
Single
two
leg or
legs.
no?
2 legs.
Oh,
Then
okay.
I think the top seed will get the home leg as a second leg.
Okay.
Yeah, so it means that they will play home as second. So it means that they technically in Champions League, everybody knows that having the second leg at home is an advantage.
Yeah.
Because it is basically like you either seal it or if you need to come back, right, you have the home crowd momentum trying to shift you behind. Because by theoretical rule of thumb, right, in football, right, or in sports, right, you generally should be playing better at home compared to when you're away.
Okay.
So I would say that there is some sort of benefit in terms of like if you're a higher seed during that 9 to 24 phase prior trying to qualify for the round 16, right, playing at home and a second leg is an advantage compared to playing at home in the first leg.
Yeah, correct.
So I think that's where the advantage comes from. So if it were to be a single elimination, it would be quite interesting also. But I think it would kind of defeat purpose because the whole point of Champions League has always been like everybody wants to see a 2-leg knockout.
Yeah, but I also think like the NBA follows this format for the in-game tournament. So what they've done now is that last time it used to be like the top 8 from the East and top 8 from the West. They go automatically to the playoffs. But then now what they've done is that only the top 6 qualify, and then the 8, the 7 to 10, they play like a 1-game knockout to see who is the one that makes it to the playoffs lah. It's quite fun actually when it's single game, and then it's like if you're the higher seed, then you get the home field advantage lah. Because to be honest, I feel that this format is a bit more acceptable in the fact that it'll be more exciting, and I get the gist of like really is like just one game knockout. Like Real Madrid might get knocked out by I don't know like what Galatasaray or something like that. You know what I mean? Like in a one leg thing lah. Yeah. But
I also think that in terms of like basketball and football, right? Generally, you will make more money in football, right, if your bigger teams are in the biggest stages of the Champions League. So definitely that they will try to do their best to. The easiest one and the low risk is of course 2 legs lah. Because if let's say Real Madrid gets knocked out in a single leg elimination, right, then basically the luster of like one of the Champions League greats is not there anymore already.
Yeah. Then do we know who is the one that will get knocked down into Europa? You don't know at this stage, probably not.
This one I'm not sure.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, I mean, like we're all trying to grasp the the nitty gritties of it, lah. Yeah, interesting.
It's interesting, but I think we'll see what's going to happen because this is not just the only thing. There is another thing that happened, right? But I think we'll just leave it for another discussion, right? They are changing the Club World Cup format also.
Yeah, I saw that also. Yeah.
So usually, for everybody's know-how, we'll do this in a separate episode, lah. Everybody's know how the Club World Cup usually happens mid-season, which is basically why this coming week, right, Man City are not playing any games because they are going for the Club World Cup. Next year onwards, if I'm not mistaken, right, it will take place in June after the season.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how they're going to do it, especially considering during June, right, is usually when like all the Copa America, Euro, World Cup all going on, right? Can you imagine, right? Like you got no break, eh? Every year you're playing extra games in June, eh?
Yeah. It just seems like they're packing a lot of stuff into the football calendar. I mean, like it's good for us viewers, but at a certain point, like you end up seeing more injuries and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the danger.
So you ready to move into the main segment today?
Not really, but okay.
Okay, so for today's episode, we are going to talk about 2 games that happened over the weekend. Of course, the big one that we were looking forward to was, of course, our football Kaki match of the week, which was the game between Liverpool and Manchester United. In a very stunning result, I must say. Even for me, I was a bit shocked. The final score was 0-0 for that. And then, of course, the other shock of the week was that Man City dropped points. Again. They were leading 2-0 and they conceded 2 goals to Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And Crystal Palace only had 2 shots on target for the entire match, right? So these are the games that we are going to be reviewing this week. Then, of course, we will look forward to this week's match of the week involving Liverpool again. And, of course, the league leaders currently, Arsenal. It is at Anfield. And Anfield is usually rocking, but it wasn't rocking last Sunday, which I am very happy of as a Man United fan. So, yes, let's get into this week's episode of the Football Kaki. All right, and so for the first game we are going to talk about is, of course, the Liverpool versus Manchester United game at Anfield, which resulted in a goalless draw of 0-0. As a Man United fan, right, I don't know how this happened. Who dominated this game? They had a total of 34 shots on goal with 8 on target, compared to Man United 6 and 1 on target. We got lucky as United. I'm just about to say, because there were chances whereby I would say that Liverpool were wasteful. Mila, what do you think? Were you happy with this outcome, or were you just like?
I'm not happy with the outcome, but I'm not surprised by it as well. I think last week I did mention that these type of games, right, really the form goes out of the window because, like, these big derby matches, it's really just in the moment, certain things might turn up. I felt we were very wasteful. I didn't think that we played well in any particular area except the defending. So that's the only thing that I think we played well. And I will also say the same for United. They defended well. So overall, I thought Varane had a very, very good game. He blocked a lot of shots, like like a ton of shots. But the main difference, right? I feel that I thought Onana had a very good game. He had a lot of good saves. There was a lot of like very confident catches, which is something that I think he's been trying to do because he's been spilling the ball a lot recently. So I think he made a conscious effort to okay, I'm trying to try and grab the ball not trying to palm it away or smack it away and in the end also, to be honest, United, they had chances to score. So it's like on the break, right? Garnacho messed up one and Højlund messed up one. So those were two chances that I felt that actually, right, we could have lost the game because we could have gotten beaten on the counter. So do I feel that this is a fair result? Yes, but I think the result is an outcome that will be very upsetting for Liverpool fans, and I think United will be okay to take the 1 point because considering the fact that they have like so many injuries, considering the fact that like Bruno wasn't playing, considering the fact that like Rashford was on the bench, there's a lot of factors So it's tough to say to find like a single good person that played well for Liverpool, but it is what it is. For yourself though, were you happy with the outcome, considering from a Man U perspective?
Yes, 100%. I had a lot lesser confidence than me last week. Like when we were doing the predictions, right? You predicted 2-0, I predicted 3-0. So I was expecting the worst. Because I mean, even though it's been a year, right? 7-0 never leaves your brain. Especially when it's a loss to a rival. It never leaves your head. So especially considering the fact that this team is a lot worse than last year.
Yeah.
And I will say that this Liverpool team is slightly better than last year in terms of cohesiveness, right? And chance creation, right? The fact that we were able to get away with a clean sheet and had a chance to win, right? I will take it. I will really, really accept it, right? But I still do think, right, in the long term, right, you cannot have performances like this. It has to be better than this. Because I do think, right, that with the players that Man United have, right, what I see is a glaring thing whereby the impact that the team played, right, they played more like a team yesterday than they have all season, right? And Bruno and Rashford weren't in the team.
Yes. But
that says a lot.
Yes. But I must say also, right, Bruno and Rashford were not in the team, but United, their attack was not good.
Yes,
So it's like they were getting overrun in the midfield a lot. And like we were winning the ball back a lot also. So like for instance, Konate and specifically Endo, right, they were doing very good jobs like stealing the ball back very, very early and then like retaining the possession. The glaring issue for United the whole season has been that they struggle to score.
Yes.
Yeah, and then their midfield is weak. Like I thought the United midfield didn't play well. Like I thought Amrabat was bad. Yeah, I thought who's that also? McTominay also didn't play very well.
Manu was the better of the three.
Yeah, Manu was the better of the three. Yeah, which is like shocking for a youngster. Yeah. But in that same vein, right, I can also say that Liverpool's midfield also played like shit. Like like Szoboszlai didn't link up play well. I thought Szoboszlai, right, had one of the worst games I've seen him play in the Liverpool.
He was horrible yesterday, dude. Like,
he was really, so shit.
Really, like not what you expect.
Yeah, just zero chemistry with Salah and Trent, like the whole game and he kept trying to like force feed it into the game. So this is the one situation where I felt like, okay, like this is the one game, but it's maybe a one-off because the rest of the season has been okay. Yeah, but he's been bad. And then I also thought Gravenberch didn't really like do much in the midfield, but yeah, I don't know. I guess for you, right, from your perspective, do you feel that they played better as a team without Rashford and Bruno in general, or do you feel like it's because how do you say? Yeah, do you feel that they played better without them? Like the two of them?
I do. Honestly, because here's the reason why. Like, I feel that in terms of work rate, right? Yes, Bruno has a high work rate, right? But he's very ill-disciplined when it comes to attack. Like, we can see from the Bournemouth game, he does a lot of things that just don't make sense. He tries to drive the ball forward, which in the end, it ends up costing Man United and losing the ball, right? I think yesterday, right, the biggest issue why the United midfield was overrun was because Amrabat kept losing the ball. Yes. So if you were to really look at like the three midfielders, right, McTominay was neither really here nor there because I don't think he's not used to playing 10, which is a certain case, right? Definitely, if let's say Mason Mount was fit, I think Mason Mount will play 10 in terms of the characteristics, right? But Amrabat lost the ball a lot, right? The only one I felt that was able to keep ball in possession, win it back, drive the ball forward, right, was Mainu.
Yeah.
And it was very obvious, especially in that one play where he had that, where they united, right? It was a quick pass to Mainu, right? Mainu's all the way down in the middle of the field, right? He threads one ping ball straight down to Garnacho. Like, Garnacho right on the money, right? In strike, Garnacho, if he does better, right, I think it's 1-0 already.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's the type of thing where, as a midfielder or as a chance creator, right, I would rather do that, where is you pick the precise points as to when you want to penetrate and do a penetrating pass, right, rather than forcing it, which is what Bruno does after he gets frustrated.
Yeah.
Which I feel is a bit of a costing because Bruno's such a talented player, but he has so many bad habits that are really annoying as a Man United fan.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Bruno, so yeah.
Rashford, I've said my piece about him. I think he's horrible. They played better, yes. They played better without him yesterday, but when he came on, he did have some impact. I feel at the end of the day, right, like, what can attackers do when you keep losing the ball in midfield?
Yeah,
which is Man United's problem lah.
Yeah. I also thought Anthony didn't play well. In general, the United attack, it showed its inexperience. I think it's just like maybe a lack of composure in front of goal would have been better. Stuff like that. Do you feel the same also?
I think that, I will say that Garnacho, in terms of attacking wise, right, he miskicked the shot, that's one, right? Anthony, right, he has this very reserved thing. He doesn't attack the opponent. So let's say, for example, right, if you do give the ball to Garnacho, right, Garnacho will run at you. Anthony doesn't. Anthony holds back. And this was very obvious, right, when there was this one ball that Onana did from the back. He just, he just kicked the ball, right, straight ping right down to Anthony, right, on the right wing. Anthony could have run down that byline, right, at full pace, then just got inside, squared the ball, right. But you could see the moment he ran up, then you see Joe Gomez caught up to him, he slowed down.
Yeah. He does he wants to like do some trickery to get by you instead of just doing the simple thing to just use your burst of pace or whatever.
Correct. Which I would say that Palestri does that more often. Garnacho does that more often than Anthony does. And Rashford also does that more often. But the problem is that Rashford he's just selfish lah. His decision making is not good. Anthony and Rashford have a similar issue in the sense where their football IQ is not high.
Yeah.
So they can't see the play 2 or 3 steps ahead. Yeah. Whereas I feel like Garnacho and Palestri can. It's just that because they're young, right, their decision making is not ideal. So meaning that you can see the idea. You can see that, they know where to go. They know where they're going to attack. They know the space to penetrate, right? But just that maybe in front of goal, they just don't have that composure.
Yeah.
I think that's what essentially happened. You can see the same for Højlund also.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. The two young attackers.
Yeah, correct. But I think for both of us, right, the shock of the match, right, was the red card.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, right? I didn't understand how he got red. He didn't get yellow before that, right?
He did.
When?
So in the space of 10 seconds, he got 2 yellow cards.
Yeah. So he didn't get a yellow prior to this, his challenge, right? No. It was only the challenge, then he said something, then got red card or something like that. Like a yellow, then a double yellow.
So from what I see, right, I went to watch it back. Basically what happened is that Salah was on the counter, right? Then Dalot got back, right? Dalot touched the ball, right? Then the ball ricocheted off Salah's foot, then it went out. So by right, it's actually a Man United throw-in, if you see the replay. But Michael Oliver awarded a Liverpool throw-in. So of course, in the 93rd minute of the match, right, you are extremely heated, right? You have a chance to get the ball back, do one final attack. In the end, your opponent gets the ball in your third. Of course, you'll be upset lah. So he swung his arm. Michael Oliver gave him a yellow.
I don't like that.
A few seconds later, he swung it again after the yellow, right? Then Michael Oliver gave him another yellow.
You can't be doing that, man. It's like a ego thing as a referee. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's nonsensical.
Yeah. To be a ref, right, you have to put your ego at the door. Like, you just have to accept the fact that when you play a game, right, there's always going to be raging emotions. There's always going to be like flat tempers and stuff like that, right? They might say something in the heat of the moment that might offend you, or they might do something that like might tick you off or whatever. But you have to be honest to yourself and honest to the game. Like, does this merit a yellow card? Was the challenge merit a yellow card? Is it by now a referee just because I feel that you not happy? I'm not happy with the way that you react to me. I can give you a yellow card for dissent. I don't think that it should be like to this level that I can send someone off like that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, it rubbed me off the wrong. Even though like I'm a Liverpool fan, right? I will get very angry if like this happened to my player also. Do you know what I mean? Like the same standards.
I mean. And the thing is that like because this actually happened, right? In hindsight, right? A lot of the Man U fans online are actually questioning Darwin Núñez not getting red carded for something similar.
Yeah, there was a point in time where I think he was challenged at the side. Then he made a lot of noise to the sideline referee, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then he got booked for the like complaining. I think he was booked for the foul, but to be honest, it also looked like because he was complaining lah. Then after that, they just like, okay, just shut up. So they took the yellow card and sticked it out lah. So in that same way, right, if he got sent off, I will also be very angry ma. Because I think it'll be a similar situation to how Dalo got sent off. Yeah.
Correct.
It's like a very nonsense thing. Then now all of a sudden he can't play the next game. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So the thing is that like he went to applaud the linesman, like he went to clap. So I feel that honestly, right, that Núñez thing wouldn't have been such a big deal, right, if Dalo didn't get sent off.
Yes, correct. It's by right, all these stuff things shouldn't be reason for you to send people off. Do you know what I mean? Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And the thing is that like if it's a yellow card, right, yellow card for dissent, right, and then the game moved on, right, I think everybody would have been fine. Because the thing is that you cannot go against the referee. But having to justify 2 yellow cards in the space of 10 seconds.
Yeah. It does make it look like you have a vendetta. Because shortly after that, right, he blew the whistle to end the game. So he was just like, I'm just going to screw you over before the game ends. You know what I mean? Like, it gave that feel. Yeah.
And I've said many times, right, I absolutely don't like Michael Oliver when he's refereeing a Man United game. He's the absolute worst.
Yeah. He must have grown up a Man City fan or something.
From what I heard, he's a Newcastle fan.
Okay lah. It's a Geordie. Okay, interesting.
But I mean, what can we do? I think like overall, this game was not what many of us expected. I would say that United would be happy with this, right? But I got this question to ask you right, before to conclude this, right? Did Ten Hag survive?
Yes. I think that the vibes that you get from this game, right, is sort of like this is a chance for you to turn your season around.
Yes.
That sort of vibe lah. That's the vibe that immediately came off lah. Because a lot of the Man U fans, they were like, oh, we did it. Like we managed to like not lose against Liverpool, where everyone said that we're going to get trashed and stuff like that. So I think optically, he will survive for now. And also, I think it's because of the fact that there's no suitor or like replacement available at the moment. Yeah. But I think come off season, right, if they are able to evaluate the situation based on the standing in the table, right? Let's say you finish your ninth and then no Europe or something like that, lah. Then I think they'll be able to say like, okay, he's not gonna be around, lah. But for this moment, right, he survives, lah. Yeah.
I would say he survives also. So we shall see. I think what this happens, right, in general is that Liverpool now lose top spot to Arsenal after Arsenal beat Brighton 2-0 on the weekend, lah. Now moving on to the other side of Manchester. Manchester City played Crystal Palace over the weekend, right? And they squandered a 2-goal lead.
Yeah. Horrendous.
After leading 2-0, Palace scored 2 goals in the last 15 minutes to draw 2-2. This is Man City's third draw in 5 games, and they've only got 1 win in the last 5, right? With the last win being 2-1 away at Luton Town. Was this a shock to you?
Yes, but they've also been giving up a lot of late goals as of late.
Yes.
Like as of recent. It's shocking because they really dominated majority of the game.
Yeah.
The first goal was a bit questionable. I feel that it was offside. The Grealish one. Yeah. So do you know what I mean? Like in the end, when the outcome happened, right, I was like, okay, I think it's fair. I mean, like, yeah, like a bit of karma-ish situation. That's the thing about EPL football, really. It's like at any moment, like you have to be your A game the whole game. You can't just be like for 2 minutes or anything like that. Because Crystal Palace, right, just 2 sort of like moments they capitalize on it to go and get a penalty and then also to go and score the goal. So yeah. Do you think that Man City are how to say like what's the issue? You know what I mean? You can't really pinpoint what it is.
They got no leader.
No leader at all. You don't think DS is a leader?
No, I don't think so. Like
Oh.
honestly, right? Like to me, right? Like why they were so good last year was because you had Gundogan and you had De Bruyne together. Like Gundogan is a leader, and previously, like you had David Silva, who's also a leader. You had Mahrez, who's also captain of his own. If I'm not wrong, Mahrez is captain of Algeria, right? So national team.
I have no idea.
But the thing is that Mahrez has won the armband before. So you've got a lot of guys that are game changers. You've got a lot of guys that are there last season, right, to be able to establish the direction, saying that, okay, this is what we are expected to do. This is what is our target. Let's move towards that. So no room for mistakes. Like that type of definition, right? Rodri is combustible. He's very emotional. So it means like if like you see, right, like he will just do something like that. Sometimes he'll just absolutely lose it over something.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it once or twice.
Yeah, then DS is he's a good defender, right? But currently his form is not great. And I don't know what's going on, right? But it might be also because Gvardiol is playing left back. Then I don't think he's a left back. He's not used to it.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
So it's very weird one, right? And I honestly don't think Kyle Walker's a leader.
Yeah, he's just a very good player.
He's a good player. He's not a leader, right? So I do think that overall the fact, right, they are missing De Bruyne.
Yeah,
because
in general,
they're missing De Bruyne, right? Because like even with the Spurs game, right, you can see all of them getting very emotional after the Simon Hooper blow the whistle. Yeah, then you usually don't see that big of reaction from Man City players most of the time.
Yeah, but of course it was a ridiculous.
It was a ridiculous thing. But then, like when you're looking at it, right, I do think they lack like proper on-field leadership, especially trying to fill the void of what Gundogan had and what De Bruyne has. I think when De Bruyne comes back, right, it may stabilize everything a bit more. But they do miss a leader because losing a game like this, right, is very uncharacteristic of Man City.
Yeah, they didn't lose. They drew. I mean, lost the lead.
Like just losing the lead. I mean, right, but this will be considered like a loss to City because this one they should have won.
Yeah, they should have won. They should have won. Yeah, I did feel like maybe the defenders, right, this whole sort of like four at the thing, it doesn't really work because I guess they don't really have pace. Like also Doku didn't play, like didn't start ma. So it's like Grealish, Foden, all this. So it's like I don't, they're just missing that sort of like a little bit of pace lah. So that's why a lot of times they get beaten out at the byline. That's why Schlopp end up getting the cross in and stuff like that lah. No,
but that Mateta goal was actually a ball over the top.
Yeah. Correct.
So it was a ball over the top, right? And that was complacent because it was literally just a ding. Schlopp won the ball. He won the play, right. Scored to Mateta. Defender left him trailing, tap in goal. Then the penalty given up, right, is just Phil Foden lack of awareness.
Yeah, it was just in that moment it was a stupid decision to go and do that. Like to go and swing his leg at the
why are you trying to clear the ball there when you know that somebody's gonna come in behind you?
Yes, yeah. I agree. It's tough. It was a good game though, but yeah lah. This is the way EPL football works. Just like anything can happen in the last minute. Go and decide the game. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's weird because like City dropped a lot of points. Like a lot. You're talking about in the last 5 games, you only got 1 win and they got 3 draws. So in total, right, they dropped about 9 points.
But they have quite an easy run of games, the next few games. Yeah. So I think that they should be able to go and bounce back lah. So it's like against Everton, Sheffield, and then after like Newcastle's a bit of a challenge, but then it's like Burnley lah. So yeah, I think that eventually they'll be able to like go on a winning streak again lah. Because I mean they're too talented to not take advantage of that now. So
correct.
Yeah,
but it's just that because now, right, what's happening is that because they are going to the Club World Cup, so because of that they will not play until next week. So depending on the result of the Liverpool and Arsenal game, right, they could be actually further behind than anticipated. So that means that at the end of the day, you are still playing a catch-up game, and you're waiting for the other team to falter lah. Which, based on Man City, right, when it comes to about February all the way until May, there's no team better in the entire Premier League than Manchester City.
Yeah.
Nobody is as good as Manchester City when it comes to the closing stages of the season.
Yeah.
The last 3 to 4 months. So I mean, I think we will just put this on like the back burner first, right, to see whether City is really in trouble. I think it's more or less like what's going to happen in the future, lah. Yeah, lah. So City dropped points, which is a bit of a shock. They are now currently fourth, 1 point behind, 1 point ahead of Spurs, and 4 points behind Aston Villa.
Yeah, shocking. Yeah, who would have thought Aston Villa again with the W?
Yes, and Aston Villa are tied on points with Liverpool.
Yeah, scary. They're a scary team, man.
So, I think with that, right, you got anything else to say about Man City Crystal Palace?
No, I don't. No more. Enough, Man City. Yeah.
Okay, all right, agreed. Enough Man City. So now we are moving forward to this week's Futbol Kaki match of the week. Now, next week, of course, there are 2 games happening, which is, of course, the game over Christmas weekend and then Boxing Day. But because Boxing Day actually happens, after we do the Kaki recording, we won't actually be doing a Boxing Day match preview lah. So, which is unfortunate. So, we will only be previewing 1 game this week, which is, of course, Liverpool versus Arsenal, the top of the table clash. Currently, Arsenal sit top of the table with 39 points and Liverpool are a point behind with 38 points. Before I move over to you, right, as a Liverpool fan, I'm just going to say what I think, right? I think in terms of both teams, right, I think Liverpool has an advantage just solely because, right, Arsenal has not done well against the more competitive teams this season. Like, I've been looking at the checks, right, like, they drew with Spurs, they beat a very ailing Man United team, which is expected for many of the big teams. They beat City 1-0, but they've drawn with Chelsea 2-2. They lost to Newcastle and they lost to Aston Villa. So, you essentially beat ailing Man United team, right? And you were able to beat City, but you don't really get away with points from the other clubs. And the teams that you expect, the reason why they are where they are, right, is basically because they beat the teams that they're expected to beat, which is fine, which is fair. But if you were to compare it against Liverpool, right, Liverpool have beaten Newcastle and Aston Villa. They drew with City, they lost to Spurs, they drew with Chelsea and Man United. Liverpool's record is slightly better, but the thing is that drawing with Chelsea and Man United is not really a great feat, to be honest.
Plus, you got screwed over by the Tottenham game.
Yeah, the Spurs game you got screwed over.
Yeah.
The Man City game, I think it was a bit of a fair result, right? But you beat Newcastle and you beat Aston Villa. So in overall performances, right, as a whole totality, right, Liverpool have performed better against bigger clubs, which is why I'm giving the edge to Liverpool lah. I mean, do you think the same in terms of, let's say you were to compare both Liverpool and Arsenal side by side?
Also the fact that it's at Anfield.
Yes.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm quite fearful of Arsenal. I think that they are a very good team. And I think that their midfield is better than ours. It's a big concern for me lah. The Havertz is a bit of a that type of thing. But I really think Rice is like such a good world class midfielder, especially this season. I thought he's been like the best player in the league. Honestly, I really think so. Like him and Salah, the 2 best. I'm quite worried about them. I think that the biggest thing that gives me like a bit of confidence going into the game is that I think Van Dijk and Konate, they've been very good. So it's like hopefully they'll be able to control the game. The biggest sort of like battle I see will be probably Martinelli versus Trent, which like might be a concern lah. Yeah lah. So I'm not like very very confident that we will win. I think that if we get a draw, it'll be quite okay lah. I expect this to be the result lah. But I do think right, this is a big sort of a test because we're going to be playing Arsenal quite a lot, like in the next month. Yeah, I think we're going to play them another 2 more times. We play them 1 more time at Emirates and then after 1 more at the FA Cup or whatever. I can't remember which one lah.
Yeah,
so
FA Cup in January and then in February you're playing them at the Emirates.
Yeah, so it's like we're going to play them very very close, and I think these games right will be quite important to go and differentiate like whether we have a chance or not. Because to be honest, if you ask me, does this Liverpool, is this like the Premier League winning like level of the squad? I don't think it is yet. I think the midfield needs to be a bit better. But if we are able to win Arsenal, right, then it puts us in a good position lah. Yeah lah. In the same way, also, I think if Arsenal beats us quite easily, right, in the performance, I think that okay, this is the year that they're going to win. Because all the while, right, since the start of the season, the team that I'm feared the most is Arsenal. Just because I think that their starting 11 is like quality. Yeah. And I think Saliba and Gabriel, the Declan Rice, everything, so it's very tough. tough for us lah. But we shall see lah whether this outcome will determine the league.
Yep. I agree. I don't disagree. But I mean, for me, what I've said before is also what I'm going to repeat again, right? Is that Arsenal's problem is still the striker.
Mm-hmm.
So if, let's say, for example, Eddie and or Gabriel were to go against like Van Dijk and Konate, I don't think they have a chance.
Yeah.
Like you are going to be heavily reliant in this game on Martinelli and Saka. Because like you mentioned about the matchup between Martinelli and Trent, right? It is going to be Saka against Tsimikas.
Yeah.
Which I think is a bit of a mismatch.
Yeah. But Tsimikas is a good player lah. Yeah.
He's good. But I would say that like Saka was probably, in terms of quality, is definitely going to be more of a challenge compared to Martinelli on the right side. Because I do think that definitely Starboy in Arsenal is confirmed Saka.
Yeah.
So this game, right, I would say that they're going to probably be heavily reliant on the wings and Odegaard to be able to do some penetration. I don't think they're going to be able to rely on the strikers. Even if they place Havertz in front, right, I think honestly Van Dijk and Konate can wrap them up, no problem.
Yeah.
It's more towards whether or not the midfield can sustain handling Odegaard.
Yeah.
Odegaard, especially when he does his usual like coming from the back, coming from the deep side when they're going down to the byline, then they'll just shift. Then Odegaard's open in the middle, stuff like that lah. So we shall see. I think this game's going to be interesting over the weekend. Let's move on to our match predictions. So based on last week, media predicted 2-0 on the Liverpool versus Man United game, right? So currently, what's the recap is that currently the score between the Futbol Kaki match predictions results, right, is that Paul is leading 3-1. Last week, we predicted the results for the Liverpool and Man United game, right? Media predicted 2-0 to Liverpool. I predicted 3-0 to Liverpool, right? But by proxy, right, because it's 0-0, right, and media has a closer to the scoreline, right, Paul gets the additional 1 point.
Yeah.
I lose again because I did not have enough confidence in my own team. So it proves to have faith in your own club.
Yeah.
But then again, sometimes when you have faith, right, the faith doesn't live up to expectations.
Yeah.
Has been for Man United or everything. So, bro, what is your prediction for this game?
I think it'll be like an end-to-end game. It'll be different from the Liverpool Man Utd game where it was like one team sit back, then one team attack. I think it'll really just be like up and down the whole game. It's going to be awesome. I think the score will be like 3-2. And I think Liverpool will win just because it's home. But that's the only reason that I'm giving Liverpool the edge, 3-2. I will not be surprised if Arsenal wins 3-2 at all. Yeah, but just and plus a bit of like a biasness to Liverpool. So yeah, hoping for a 3-2 win or something like that.
Yep. I do agree with you in a sense where like this game is going to be very more open-ended because the teams are a lot better. The quality of football is going to be higher, right? I think for Man United, right, the whole objective yesterday was just not to concede. Like, just contain Liverpool, just make sure that you don't embarrass yourself. But then, if you can get one on the counter-attack, just get one on the counter-attack. So, based on this game, right, where I think everything's going to be, right, I'm going to go for a draw. I think it's going to be 2-2. 2-2. I think that is a fair result for both clubs because it is very open-ended, right? And I do think, right, in terms of swing, right, Liverpool definitely will be better, right? Dependent, and I said it's dependent on whether or not Trent and Tsimikas can handle Martinelli and Saka. If they can handle the two of them, right, I think Liverpool win.
Yeah.
But just to be safe, I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
So
I think that's yeah. My brain told me 2-2, but my heart told me 3-2 lah. So
yeah, all right. So I think that is it. So just to recap, basically what's good, media's prediction is 3-2 for Liverpool win. My prediction is 2-2. Let's see what's going to happen next week's result. And of course, just to remind everybody, right, there is a prize at the end of the season on the line. It is either a $70 gift at minimum or a $70 at minimum dinner or meal treated to the other person. Currently, Paul has the advantage. He is currently 4-1 up, which kind of makes me a bit sad. But I have a lot of time to make that up. So hopefully we shall see. And remember, there's no draw. So the one that is closest to the result will actually get the point lah. So yeah, before we close up this episode, you got anything to say? Anything to add?
No. I hopefully we'll get a good game Boxing Day. And also, if you're watching this over the Christmas week, hope you enjoy and have a good Christmas day. Yeah.
Yes. So Merry Christmas from everybody here at the Futbol Kaki, and just want to say thank you. Yeah. So that is it for this week's episode of the Futbol Kaki. All right, so that is it for this week's episode of the Futbol Kaki. Now, for those of you who are listening into the Futbol Kaki, we hope that you continue to support us and our other shows here on the Chit Cheddar Podcast Network, which of course include the Kopi Bros every Monday involving me, that Paul, Brandon, Tin Young, where they talk about different topics and have fun while they do it. They are talking about Mesopotamian mythology. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you got it right.
Okay.
Don't worry. Even if you got it wrong, right, you're not the only one. Brandon got it like completely wrong a few times in the
it's not an easy word to say, but it is interesting, and I hope that you guys will just check that out. Do support that particular episode, and of course the show. It is also, of course, the first time that our fellow friend Jin Yong is hosting an episode.
Yay,
Yes. Usually it's always me or me that doing the hosting, but Jin Yong is doing it, so yay! Give him your support. Then of course, every Friday, we have also got the SG Draft podcast involving the gang from both the Kopi Bros and the Futbol Kaki, where we come together and draft about different topics and have fun while we do it. Last week was, of course, the emo songs draft, right? I was so disappointed.
Don't worry, we'll get to debrief that in this week's draft.
Yes, I will leave my comments for the draft of this week's episode. I was really disappointed with the results and everything, but well, maybe my taste of music is not for everybody. So yes, with that, we just want to say thank you to everybody who's been following us, and we thank you for growing our channel. We hope that you continue to like and subscribe, and of course, share this channel with your friends. Do like us on socials, on Instagram and TikTok, and just keep on following and just look out for the new content that we have for you for the rest of this year, and of course next year in 2024. There's a lot of things that we have lined up. So we just want to say thank you, and of course have a good week ahead. Mida, before we go, you have anything else you want to say?
Merry Christmas!
Yes,
have a good Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to everybody watching this, and we just want to say thank you so much for your support this year. Bye-bye.
Feliz Navidad. Goodbye.